I'm from Eblity. Of course, we know that managing behaviors in children can be incredibly stressful for parents or even for educators. So for this evening, we are going to be discussing about why my child cannot study well and how exactly can we manage behavioral challenges of children. And we are extremely honored to have Camellia Wong and Leong, both from Inpsychful, as our guest speakers for this evening. Well, before I hand over to our guest speakers, please allow me to do a quick introduction on Eblity. So basically, Eblity focuses on students with special needs as well as slow learners. And at Eblity, we help to craft and manage personalized plans for each student. And at the same time, Eblity also connects parents, other stakeholders, and specialists on one platform to deliver the interventions. Or if you have registered for any of Eblity's webinar series, I'm sure you would have already received this following emails from Eblity Customer Success Team. So by registering, you will then be given access to the webinar resources. And the resources would consist of the question and answer documents. You'll get to have your hands on the webinar slide decks, as well as the webinar video recordings. So by using the credentials that were sent to you via email, you may proceed to log into your account, all right, just by simply clicking on to sign in, and thereafter click on to view resources, which is right here. And thereafter, you will be able to gain access to all the resources from today's webinar, as well as previous webinars. All right, so moving along, our guest speakers for today are Camellia Wong and Leong, both from Inpsychful. So both Camellia and Mint have more than 30 years of collective experience working with children and youth in areas such as character building, leadership development, as well as academic success. And their current work as a psychologist and transformational academic coach have led them to work with parents and educators who experience challenges in their child's or students' overall success. Okay, so before we dive into the presentation, well, firstly, I would like for you guys to participate in a little poll that we have put together. So this poll will enable us to get to know you a bit better. All right. So I will be launching the polling segment right now, and we'll be making it available for the next 10 to 15 seconds. All right. So you should be able to view the question right now. So please proceed to cast your vote. And of course, secondly, if you do have any questions, during the presentation, please feel free to type your questions into the chat box. And this is only for all Zoom participants. And please do remember, when typing your question, please select all panelists and all attendees. And for those of you who are watching this on Facebook, okay, type your questions via Facebook, and we'll do our best to bring up your questions during the question and answer segment. Okay. All right. So it looks like most of you have already casted your votes. I shall now proceed to wrap up the first section of the polling segment. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. And of course, moving along, I shall now hand over to our guest speakers, Camellia and Meet. So over to you, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Hi to everyone. My name is Mint.
All right. Thank you for having us again. Some of you may have attended our previous webinar talking about why my child can't study. Just a gentle reminder, those of you who are keying in and typing in the chat box, okay, you should see highlighted in blue. Some of you are typing only to the panelists. That means only we can see. Can you click on the blue highlighted box at the bottom of the chat box and make sure that it's sent to all panelists and attendees, okay, so that everyone is able to see what you are typing, right?
I think some of them are already sending to all panelists and attendees, but it'll be good if everyone does that as well.
Okay, and without further ado, let me share our slides. Sorry, give me a minute.
We have friends from Philippines and India. Hello.
Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yep, we can. I mean, I can.
Okay. Right, so for those of you who were with us in our previous webinar, you would be familiar with this slide, okay, or those of you who have managed to access the Eblity's resource page from our previous presentation, we have included this part in our previous response to the questions that came along. Okay, so the previous webinar, we started talking about rapport and attachment. Okay, we spent the entire session talking about awareness and basically wanting parents to be more aware, okay, about themselves first before they start working with their child. Okay, and today we will touch on a little bit of each of the quadrants here as we go along. Okay, and also to share a little bit more about the questions that we received. We received a lot of questions, so thank you very much for that. We will stay true to the topic of this series, which is on basically academic related challenges that parents face. So for today's presentation, we will focus on behavioral challenges in academic related situations. Okay, and with that, let me hand you over to Mint.
All right, thank you, Cam. Now, hi everyone. We will like to bring you through a few questions before we even start. And if you have been here on our webinar, our previous episode, you will realize that we are actually very interactive. So we would like all of you to share your thoughts, to actually give your responses as much as you can. So in 1 minute, think of an activity at home or during work that you really enjoy doing. All right, spend 1 minute thinking about that and then share with us in the chat. Okay, so we're going to read off some of the responses that we have. So do I have to speak a little bit louder? Okay, let me know if I'm too soft. Now in 1 minute, think of an activity at home that you enjoy doing or even at work, dance, smile, sleeping. That's right, gaming. I saw that. Gardening, cooking, wow, cleaning, yes. I believe we went that before. Reading, I saw that, reading. Some of them say Zumba. What else do you have? Come on, keep the responses coming. Singing, yep. Baking, I thought you were asking me to sing because I'm holding a mic today. But I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, we have cooking, listening to old songs, talking with my kids. Nice, that's a good one. Acting, yes, I saw acting right there. And me time. That's right, me time is so important. You really have to take some time for yourself. Now, for those who do not have this kind of activity at home usually, now is the time to actually take a look. In fact, we have so many participants here, and many of us are actually finding something enjoyable to do each and every day. So there is self-talk, yep, and even teaching as well is something that you enjoy doing. There's puzzle, watching a movie, that's right. So there are so many activities that we actually enjoy doing. Okay, and I believe your children as well. Now, second question. Let's quickly go to the second question. In 1 minute now, think of an activity that you do at home or during work that you feel is a chore. All right, same thing, share with us in the Zoom chat. And once again, for friends who just joined us for the first time, we usually ask more questions and we get you to respond more than we talk. So because we want to be really interactive right here. All right, so think of it as a chore. Cooking is a chore. Washing, laundry. Some of you enjoy cooking. Some of you think cooking is a chore. Some of you think washing is an enjoyable thing to do, and while the others say washing is a chore. We have running errands. Yep, that's right. Doing curriculum activities. What else do we have? Household chores. How about at work? For friends here who are working, marketing. Marketing is a chore. To a certain extent, this is my weakness too. What else do we have there? Right, washing the utensils, preparing for class, teaching children. You see, all this, as you can see, the responses coming in, you realize some similarity. You will find some similar responses, and all of you can actually connect together. Now, the point here is everyone in life has something enjoyable to do, I believe, and a chore as well. We have chores, we have happy things to do. However, it is really something that we need to work on, and also it's a responsibility. We have to balance it. Now, that's very important. Okay, so nothing chore at home. I saw that. Teaching children, grocery shopping. Yep. Reading is a chore. Wow. Okay. Yeah. To some of us, reading might be a chore because we have problems reading or even interpreting words as well. So it's good. All right. Now that we have thought of something that is happy to do, and then now we think of an activity that you feel is a chore. Think about this. The third question. In 1 minute, think about how you feel if I told you that for the rest of the week, of the whole of next week, we will be replacing all the activities that you enjoy doing with the chores that you dread. How would you feel? Share with us in 1 minute. And just I'm dead. That's a very first. Look at that. Nervous, depressed. Some of you say it's fine for you. Yes, it might be. Some of you think it's terrible, hopeless. Now, pay attention to the question. It is things and chores that you don't like to do. Okay, some things that you don't like to do, and you are being asked to do that for the whole of next week. We're going to replace all the happy things to do. Okay, we're going to replace all the enjoyable things that you like, and you'll be doing it from 7 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. Okay, how would that feel? Stressed, upset, annoyed. And what would you do when you're feeling upset, annoyed, and challenged? What would you do? Okay, think about this. Some of you say you will sleep. Not a problem. It's part of life. Yes, I agree with that. You will binge watch. You feel irritated, throw tantrum, watch Netflix, start scolding people. I saw someone say that. Please don't be me. Please don't be me. We'll stop talking. There you go. Some of you will accept it, yes. Some of you adapt to it. But once you accept it, do you feel internally? How would you feel? You will hug your pillows. You will relax. So as adults, you see, we can regulate ourselves. Some of us, we can. In fact, most of us, we can. Some of you will discuss with your friends. You will take off. Children can't, and they are not able to sometimes realize that they are overworking, and they are not able to also realize that they need a break. So they will show it through their behaviors, if you understand that. Already tired. Some children can cope more, some children can't. So it depends on how much this rubber band, how much it's been stretched. And once it reaches its maximum, you'll blow up or you'll break, So good evening to you. We have friends who just join us, struggling, and then eventually accepting it, and then just get on with life. However, is that something that we really want our children to do? So moving to the next slide, we have consolidated about many questions, and we have shortlisted 10 of them, because most of them, like we say, we already tackled most of the questions. We have summarized them. We realize that these are some of the very relevant responses from you guys. And you see, there's a 9-year-old who's not ready to do homework, and we have an 11-year-old right there. Whenever she's asked to complete her homework, she will choose to play first, but often end up not doing work. Okay, so that's pleasure instead of choosing pleasure over work. What else do we have? Point six right there, an 11-year-old. When we ask them to study and not watch TV, this child refuses to study. And then we have 7. He starts throwing tantrum and getting into bad behaviors whenever this parent or this educator get him to learn new things or visit a new store that he doesn't like. What else? When asked to study, point 8, he always finds excuses. Last but not least, 2 more to go, 9, when the behavior will happen challenging behavior will happen to a 4-year-old, this 4-year-old child, when he or she is being asked to recite something. Maybe it's something that he or she doesn't want to do. And last but not least, when told to go to school or study. Well, think about this. You have done the reflective questions earlier on. If you were being asked by your boss or your family to replace the entire week with homework, with work, with studying, and all this, would you want to do it as well? I mean, we hear most of the majority feedback right there that, you know, nah, this is not going to work. I will feel so exhausted. I'll feel tired and all. And I will start to, some of you will say, well, feel upset. You will start to scold people. You will start to feel very frustrated. So our conclusion here is, a lot of times with all the questions that we have consolidated, what we don't see is the lack of understanding of the child's education needs and how to support them. But what we see here are problems, and a lot of problems that you face, and also the children that they face when they are being asked to study, when they are being asked to do a work. And in this case, why are all these behaviors showing? Very simple. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Cam. It's because you are reducing a pleasure and you are introducing chores to them. Okay? So if the chores piled up and piled up and piled up, what's going to happen is that they're going to get frustrated, they're going to get angry, they're going to have all the negative feelings inside, but they don't know how to tell you. So they show it with their tantrums, they show it by crying, they show it by losing their interest. They show it by, yes, they lose their interest, and then they show it by doing all sorts of funny things. Okay? So at the end of the day, right after, towards the end of the second half of the webinar, Cam is going to bring all of you, if you are staying, please stay, to actually help understand and think about and reflect how can we then introduce back some pleasure, and also chores, we have to do it because it's a responsibility, right? So how can we actually bring in more pleasure to them, and also from there, they will be more receptive to learning and studying, and eventually they will stop, you know, all the frustration and anger. Okay, so with that said, let's move on to the next slide. As you can see, it's the same testimonials, but we have the 9-year-old not ready to do homework. All the frustration came out. Cries loudly, refused to do homework, throw tantrums, as you can see. Point 3, starts crying and hitting the parent. See, the retaliation is there. Point 4, they start scolding, banging things, and even hit the parents. Okay, so you can see similarities right there. Point 6, even the child bang on things, make loud noises, refuse to study. So all these responses that are being compounded, you can see similarities, and it's not just you who is facing that problem with your child or your student, but rather many of us are experiencing the same issues. And if you realize that children actually, they have a repetitive pattern that they learn from, and also they have a repetitive pattern here that they will do when they're feeling frustrated, angry, upset, negative and all. I believe we came across one of the students who actually spit on her teachers as well. Yeah, so we came across that testimonial, and some of you you're sharing now. Thank you so much. You avoid writing, but good in oral. So question is, how can I make him write? Now later on, Cam will share with you. And what else? Some of the students will start behaving rudely. That's right. All right. And we have children who are then not interested in sitting and studying, and what they will do is just they will go and find pleasure to do, like watching movies, go Netflix, play game, etc., etc., etc. So a lot of things will happen during this period of time. So now we need to bring back the control. We need to learn also to reflect upon ourselves as parents, as educators. How then can we continue to bring in and change this kind of behavior, okay, to tame it down? Right, let's go on to the next slide. But understand this, children, they are individuals that they do not move, think, or speak in a straight line. I believe many of you, this is how you visualize your kids brain, your child's brain. It is compartmentalized properly. So when it's time for piano lessons, when it's time for writing, they will take out the cupboard, they will take out that box, put it in, and then they will start doing their things, and then you put it back, the perfect child, right? And that is what all of you are molding them to be. However, children do not move or think or even speak in a straight line. Sadly, it is our standardized pathways of education that do. So in the brain, the children's brain is so colorful. It is always fluff. It's a mixture of a lot of things. So if you can realize that, maybe we should think about how then can we, remanage our expectations a little and throw in more positive and pleasurable errands or even actions for them to learn better, right? Okay, let's take a look at I'm looking at your messages. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, just for you to know, we are talking about managing challenging behaviors. Okay, so that is the question that this is the topic tonight. Okay, so you have any suggestions to manage? They're not keen at all to learn. Now, yes, we have using the foundation 4. Later on, we will ask. Let's see what else we have. Let's give me a minute here. It's always interested in listening to songs, watching songs. Yep, that is a pleasure. Taking away, introducing pleasure and taking away the chore part. I was just saying just now. And then we have some student who has a poor study habit, very short attention span. Yep. So when the study habit is poor, what's going to potentially happen is that with that short attention span, it's very easy for the child to get frustrated and fed up very easily. So you might want to introduce learning in bite size as well. Okay, so we have friends who are coming in with more feedbacks. Can't keep quiet. He is irritated if we refuse. Yeah, that's a problem. But why? Okay, we need to understand why. So my child is 10. He never wants to study at any time of the day. It is very difficult to make him study as per the syllabus done. Like I say, look at this picture here. It perfectly explains why. All right. Like I say, children, they do not think like the puzzle. Can we go back one step? Do you think we can go back to yeah. So this is how you picture your child's brain, your mind. It's very strict, perfect. Everything is organized. The fact is, it is not. Okay? So if you can realize that, then you will know that as flowy as they are, when we are introducing different responsibilities to them and slowly crafting their structure, it is have some leniency on them. Okay? Right. Now let's move on to the next slide. Thank you, Cam. Yep. So we were saying, some of you are asking, so how then can we help? Now, you have seen this foundation 4 model a few times. And this is the foundation, this is the model that also I use all the time to access and help parents, also with the and also help the children as well. Now, let me share with you a case study and a share study how we can actually use this to, for me, how I use this to actually manage the behavior of the child. Now, first thing first. So building rapport and attachment. Usually what I do is I tend to build an affectionate relationship with my students and also with the parents as well. So parents and I will work together. We will create more affectionate relationship with them, because when you are calmer, happier, and more joyful, you tend to have a bubbly persona that children will then be more willing to sit down and listen to you. Okay, parents play a huge role in a child's learning. And if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. All right. So having said that, we have to take note of this. How can you then build a stronger and more affectionate relationship with the child, right? So that they are more willing to then listen to all of you, or each of you in that case. And also, family needs and support is very important as well, like I say, because as a parent, you play a huge role in the child's learning. And if you are especially you know, if you are especially resistant to really want to go in and understand your child, and you don't like to observe, the only things that you observe is, oh, them throwing tantrums, shouting and crying, then you will not be able to see what's beneath it. Okay, so open your eyes and be clear what is causing that trigger. Okay. Yes, Sarbi, we are discussing the behavioral challenges. We just gave 10 examples. Okay. And also you want to talk about children with learning disabilities. Okay, maybe later, if we have a chance, if we have time, right? And what else do we have? Yes, trying to create an affectionate relationship with them. Good for you. Okay, moving forward to the third portion, the third dimension is, a lot of you will think that it's educational first. Actually, social emotional needs and support is also very important. So when I work with parents and when I work with the children, my students, what I usually do is to try and inculcate the joy in them, so that they will be more receptive to learning and they will automatically want to come and learn, so that intrinsic motivation is there for them. Okay, so I put in fun games, and of course this is before the circuit breaker. I put in fun games for them to play, and even online. I know that some of the educators here, you have feedback that, you know, online learning is really tough, especially children who are running about. Now the question is, how then can we make it more interactive to the point whereby they can come back to you and they want to sit down and listen and be focused on the screen. Now, a lot of us know, if a child is on screen, a child can be on screen for long hours if you don't stop them. So why is it that when they come to your online learning, they will start running around and all? Is it because you are talking all the time? Is it because they don't have a chance to touch any keypads, draw on the, let's say, the whiteboard, the digital whiteboard? Or is it, you know, we have not enough materials for them to sit down and just pay attention? And last but not least, is it disciplinary issues? Okay, all these we must take into consideration, especially in online learning. I'm doing full online learning now with my students. They are perfectly fine. I just asked some of them today, I said, how do you find my class? They say, it's fun. They all say it's fun. It's really, it's fun. They get breaks, you know, and they get to speak with one another. They get to role play with each other. So it's fun. Okay, last but not least, then we think about, you know, bringing in the educational needs and support. So more interactive games, more, you know, keep the learning into camouflage, I would say, camouflage the learning into your activities so that it is easier for them and more receptive for them to want to do something. Okay, now if you give them a book every single day and then ask them to do 100 math questions just to get better, I would say that it is not as enticing as when I say, okay, let's have a little competition. I'm going to do 10 questions and you're going to do 10 questions. Let's do that together and let's see who scores more. You know, something like that would actually interest them more than go do your homework. I will see you in 1 hour's time. They might feel lonely, they might feel tired, they might feel, oh, another chore, my mom's going to say that again, my dad's going to say that again. So a lot of these parents, a lot of us as adults, we forgot to really think about and consider the fact that learning and studying is never fun. It is what you bring in that is fun for them, that makes it fun for them, okay? All right, so having said that, let's go into, I've shared my case study and let's see what you have got to say and ask before I pass the time to Cam. Yeah, so teaching the child when she is in the mood is also, is actually easier because it gets their attention. That's right. Would you mind sharing the materials to us in this platform? Okay, what materials are you talking about? If it's yeah. Next, how do you know what is underneath the behavior? Yeah, that's why, Ashton, you have to build a rapport and attachment with them. Okay, observe. Okay, a lot of observations are very important. That is actually very, very important. So usually when I give breaks, I will cover my screen the children cannot see me, they cannot hear me, but I'm there. So I'm actually observing their behavior, their character, and also things that they say. Because without the adults, they can actually feel more free. They can talk freely, more freely, and also they tend not to, be protective of their character. So with that, I am able to actually observe and sit down and listen to them. So in fact, online learning actually helped me a lot. Okay, what else do we have here? We have teachers and parents need to support each other for the good education of every child. You're very right, Jonathan. Thank you for sharing that. It's a very important point. Now, for me, some of my parents are actually listening to this. Thank you, daddies and mummies, for joining. I keep a very healthy relationship. We have a close relationship with my parents and also their children. Okay, we keep each other updated, and not only that. All right, we sometimes before the circuit breaker, when time allows, we will even go out for a picnic, like you see in the picture right there. Some of them will have meals together. We'll get the kids to cook for us, and then we'll eat it together, which is fun. And the parents tend to also they are more active. They play a very active role by asking me, oh, how is my child doing? What else can I help? Is this right? And also, I would always tell them there's no right or wrong. You are the parent. You are the parent. As long as it is something that is for the better good and it's not harmful to the child. Something we can consider, like for example, introducing pleasure in interesting activities to them. It's always okay for me. Okay, what else here? How in an English class for higher section, online classes can be made interesting? Well, I just shared with you, you can use apps, you can use interactive tools, you can use the whiteboard, get them to draw. Higher sector. Are we talking about bigger kids here? Cam, would you have any idea?
Is it higher learning kids or upper secondary students?
I saw higher section, so I'm not very sure
kids,
what that means.
Older kids.
Yeah, older kids.
Older kids.
Yep, older kids. How old? If we are talking about secondary school, is different from 10 to 12 years old. Okay, so let's have one more minute to wrap up, and then I'll pass it to Cam. All right, how to get the child away from gadgets all the time? My answer would be give them something more interactive so that they find it more interesting than the gadget. Okay? So minute observation and building bonding is necessary. Thank you, Renu. I think I'm almost done. Cam? I think I'm almost done right there.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so there's one saying, is the manner you are citing not spoiling the kids? Well, there's a difference between spoiling the kids and executing firm as necessary when you are being firm and we are not. Okay, so when we spoil the kids, is even if they are showing the wrong behaviors, we are egging them off. We are egging them on. We are throwing all the rewards just to get them to stop. So I'm not saying that. When discipline has to kick in, it has to kick in. However, when it comes to learning and introducing learning and work, maybe you want to do it in a more pleasurable manner. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I think I'm done here, so I'll pass the time to Cam. Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, that was deliberately louder so that when I take over, you're a little bit more awake because it's like 7:40 p.m. now. Okay, I've been sitting here taking notes of some of the stuff that some of you have actually written. You can call me Cam. Please don't call me Miss Wong. That makes me feel very old. You can call me Cam. That's fine. Now, we actually prepared a whole set of deck of slides behind. I'm going to ignore it for a bit, or maybe even for the rest of the session, just to answer a few things. Okay. Right now, we have about 655 participants. Okay. Can I get all of you to type in how old are you? Okay, type in your age. Now in the chat, type in your age.
Can I?
Sure.
I'll put 18.
This is like watching, when they do the 4D rolling the number.
This is like playing bingo.
We have a 13-year-old. Somebody wrote that he or she
Wow.
is 13 years old.
If I'm always leaning forward all the time, it's because I can't see, the fonts are too small.
Okay, 62. We have somebody that's 62. 74.
Wow. Nice to meet you.
75. 20. 23. 21. Okay. Thank you
Wow.
very much. 5. Your age. Are you 5? 5 years old? Really? You have a 5 years old? Your age. Your age.
Are you referring to your child?
No. Your age.
Yours.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so the age range that we got is if they're really 5-year-old by heart. Okay, thank you very much. 5-year-old by heart. Mint said that she's 18 years old by heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for sharing your age, for disclosing your age. So we have a good range of 13 all the way to 75. Okay, a very, very wide range. Now, the next question that I would have for you, okay, think back of your own childhood. Okay, think back of your own childhood. How did you feel when your parents asked you to go and study? How do you feel when your parents ask you to go and study? Annoyed, angry, good, boring. I love studying. Boring, I feel bad, happy, tough job.
I was just thinking, Cam, if I love studying, I would study myself. Why would my parents still ask me to? Why is there a need to still ask me to go and study?
Study more.
I see.
Study more. Tough to concentrate, tough job. Why me now? Angry, because I want to play with my friends. Inspired, never told to study, very good. Self-motivated individual. Sometimes okay, sometimes worried, good.
I like the 5 minutes later. Go and study now. 5 minutes later.
Too much work, excellent. Boring, study by myself, so didn't like it. Love studying. Okay, very good. How many of you here, you have struggled getting your child to read? Type me, M-E, in the chat box. It just keeps running. Okay, I saw a no. Wow, this is like almost, not always. Okay, good. No. Yes.
I saw never.
Okay, rarely, no. Not always. Okay, excellent. Okay, so it shows, okay, he's writing. Okay, this is good, right? Let me share with you something. How many of you here remember, okay, during your childhood, okay, you remember this book series called Peter and Jane? How many of you remember this book series called Peter and Jane? If you do, type yes. Okay, we're getting some yes, some no. Okay, some yes, some no. Okay, so those of you who are familiar with this book series called Peter and Jane, it's an educational book. It comes from it has different series, basically helping children with to improve their reading, okay, according to different level reading. Boring. Yes, it is boring. Okay, let me tell you why. Or in my experience of learning. Okay. When I was being taught to read by my mom, she always had a cane beside me. Okay, when I read Peter and Jane. Okay, every comma, every full stop, every exclamation mark, okay, I had to read it according to the tone. All right. Yeah, and there was the cane beside there. Okay. If you have a child that doesn't like to read, and more reading is enforced onto that child, and knowing that each mistake, each mispronunciation that the child does, the child will get corrected time and time and time and time and time again. Will your child want to read? Okay, no, right? That's why till this date, I'm in my 30s, I still remember the title Peter and Jane. Okay, because that was how my mom taught me to read, right? With a cane and making me mispronounce words over and over again. When I stop too short for a full stop, also I get caning. Stop too long for a comma, also get caning. Right? Okay, so yeah, lose interest, right? So you lose interest. Okay, so now the reason why I asked you to think back of your time and your own experience, okay, it's because, yes, Peter and Jane, Jane, Jane. I think they are siblings, brother and sister, I think. Okay, it's because a lot of you were typing in the chat, children these days don't like to study, children these days don't like to write, children these days don't like to do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that. Okay, now when we look back in our own life and in our own childhood, we went through very similar experience, right? That studying wasn't always pleasurable. Granted, times have changed. Okay, I think to a lot of people who are typing their age, right? A lot of us, technology. Some of us were in the phase where when we are only in our upper secondary school. Okay, so probably around 15 years old and above, then we started to have the internet. We start to have computer, right? At that time, there was still no smartphones, no mobile phones, nothing. We still need to put in the coin and call our parents or call somebody, right? Now times are different. Okay, society have changed. Okay, things have evolved. There are many, many things surrounding the child's interest now, right? Now let me ask you as parents or as educators, how do you feel when you say no to your child? Bad. Sad, very bad. I feel hurt. I feel bad, not good. I feel hurt for them, very hard, embarrassed, not satisfied. I will insist, helpless, hurts me. Okay, it's okay, it's for their own good. Very hurting, guilty, unhappy, afraid she might get tantrum. Very good. Sometimes helpless. It depends on the situation. Feel bad, couldn't fulfill demands. Pretty confident, cause I wouldn't unless it's really necessary. Okay, good, good. Part of discipline, good. Okay, good. Now, for those of you who feel bad, guilty, not happy, sad, embarrassed, when you say no to the child, what do you then do? What do you do when you feel that way? Okay, explain the reason, hug her, give reason, explain why, reason for saying no, give alternatives. Okay, divert the child to other tasks. I will insist and explain, hug my child, keep silent, explain. Tell her, say reason. Very good. Okay, very good. Right? Now, what happens to children? Okay, one of you asked earlier on, okay, how to identify the underlying problem. Okay, how do you identify the underlying problem? Okay, now, when you say no to your child, okay, when you say no to your child, you feel sad, you feel hurt. Okay, some of you will be assertive and stick to it. Okay, how do you think your child feels when they hear you say no? Right, how do you feel when how do you think your child feel when they hear you say no? Let down, disappointed, sad, frustrated, angry, rejected, bad.
I might have to interrupt you a little, Cam. I think most of them are still setting their chat to just the panelists. So the other attendees won't be able to see the feedback.
Okay, so as you are typing, right? Can all of you make sure that when you type, above type message here, there is the 2 semicolon. Click on it and make sure that it goes to all panelists and attendees. Okay, so frustrated, disappointed, sometimes cry. Okay, some of them may feel bad, right? So when you say no to your child, okay, and when they feel that way, right? What you are doing, even though you feel bad and you feel frustrated, okay, or upset, you still try to do something to soothe them, right? You explain to them, okay, you try to get them to listen, you try to reason out with them, right? Talk to them, no means no, right? Now, then if your child continue, okay, divert attention, okay, if your child continues to cry and throw a tantrum, gets frustrated, stomp out of the room, stomp out of the place. One of the examples, one of the questions came in was they would spit at the adult or at the teacher. Okay, how would you handle that? How would you handle that? And one of you wrote, some of you are writing, why are kids these days so aggressive? So if you say no and the child hit you, okay, hits you. Ignore, I stop reacting, unhappy, but disciplining is the best way. Not acceptable, cannot allow you to do that, time out, be firm. Explain, ignore. Right. Pacify. Okay, keep quiet. Stop talking and stop looking at the child. Okay, some of you say the child will accept when you say no. Stop teaching attend to him. Okay, very good. Now, let me share with you a little bit about emotions. Okay, let me share with you a little bit about emotions. Okay, whatever emotions that we are feeling, whether it's happy, sad, angry, frustrated, excited, okay, annoyed, okay, all of us experience this emotion in different intensities. Okay, so for example, if let's say your child really loves to play on the mobile phone, okay, and as your child is playing, you tell them that you can't play, and instead of waiting for a response, you snatch the phone away. Okay, and your child, the behavior, okay, your child started to shout and say, "Why you take the phone away from me?" Right now, one, of course, that behavior is not acceptable because the child just shouted at you, right? Okay, two, what you then need to find out from the child, what emotion he or she is feeling at that time. Okay, a lot of times, adults tend to assume, doesn't matter whether you're a parent or teacher. Okay, sometimes, most of the time, adults tend to assume that the child is feeling a certain way based on their behavior. Okay, now, when we assume that a child is angry just because they shout or they hit you, then we will address it as though it's a situation related to anger. But your child may not be feeling angry. Maybe your child is feeling upset and disappointed or embarrassed if he's actually gaming on the phone with his friend and then his phone got snatched away and he's locked out of that game. Okay, so maybe he's feeling embarrassed about the situation, right? Yeah, okay, feel disrespected. So going back to one of you asking the question is, how do you identify the underlying problem? Okay, one, it's really asking and trying to find out what's going on with that child. Okay, what are they experiencing? Okay, what are they experiencing? Now, it doesn't mean that we ask them, What are they experiencing? We attend to the emotions, and then we don't address the behavior. Okay, the unacceptable behavior still needs to be addressed, right? Whether you time out, you make them stand there, whether you ask them to, I don't know, do extra chores for the week or something. Now, what happens is you must follow through with whatever you set out. Okay. What also happens very often is that when we set out, when we set out rules for the child, when the child starts to behave well a little bit, we as adults tend to fall back. Oh, okay, today the child behaved very well. I think I removed the consequence of taking away the phone. I return. Okay, so when we address the behavior, whatever is the rule that you have set in your household, you have to follow it. One of you mentioned, one of you asked, okay, what do we do if the child is very manipulative? Right? The child is manipulative because your boundaries are not firm. Now, what does that mean? Okay, that means when you say no to the child, 5 minutes later, you say, okay, I will give it to you, I'll buy for you, right? So your child then learns, in certain situations, I can push the boundaries a bit with mommy or daddy. Or what your child will do is, okay, if I want a new toy car and I ask mom will say no. Mommy will say, I have too many cars. So mommy will say no. Never mind, I will try daddy. There's a higher chance daddy will say yes. Right? And then I turn to daddy, daddy, I want a new toy car. Oh, okay, let's go and get it. Right? So when we talk about managing our children's behavior, yes, it happened. Okay? It's important that parents, both parents, okay, have to, very true, yes, because both parents must be consistent. Okay, both parents must be consistent. Sometimes it's very hard pain when both of you have to tell your child no. Okay, it's not an easy decision for some. All right, it's not an easy decision. It's not an easy decision in all situations. Right, but parents have to be consistent. Okay, because now sometimes parents feel that one of them is the only one, kind of like going down that path of handling the child. Okay, and they don't feel supported as you know, husband and wife. Okay, then that is where both husband and wife have to be clear what are the boundaries. Okay, and then what both of you set, both of you must follow through. Right? Sometimes it's quite hard to follow through. If you tell your child, okay, you misbehave, I will remove your phone for 5 days. And then your child on day 2 start to behave and you're like, okay, the child is obedient now, I shall give back the handphone. So then your child knows, right? They just have to behave well for 2 days. I will get the phone back anyway. Right? Okay, so make sure that your boundaries are clear. Okay, so it cannot be situation A, you tell them you take away the phone for 5 days and you return in 2. Situation B, you tell them you take the phone away for 5 days, but you return in 3 days. Situation C, you tell them you take the phone away for 5 days and you give them back in 2. Okay, so because when parents are not firm, okay, and you don't follow through in your actions, your child will learn because this is your behavior. The child will learn your behavior. Right? Okay. You don't have to necessarily give negative reinforcement. Right? You don't necessarily have to give negative reinforcement. Okay, let me give you an example. There's this parent that I'm working with. She tells the child, if you study for 2 hours, I will let you play the computer game. Okay, so this is what the parent said. If you study for 2 hours, I'll let you play the computer game. Right? So the child studied for 2 hours. And then he went to mom, 2 hours is up. I want to have the computer game. Next thing mom said, let me check your homework first. Okay. Do you think the child put in effort to do the homework? Type in yes or no. Do you think the child put in effort to do the homework? Okay, for those who type no, why? Why do you think the child never put in effort to do the work? Okay, why do you think the child never put in effort to do the work? It's not part of the condition. Thank you, honey. It was not part of the condition. Okay, all mom said was, you do your work for 2 hours. And the next thing, you know, mom is checking the homework. Okay, then mom complains. My child doesn't do his homework properly. Anyhow do, don't finish it, just put in any answers and just give it to me. Okay, and when she tries to tell the child, no, you need to redo this is not properly done. And then the child said, but you told me I just need to study for 2 hours. Right? So what is happening here is that the gaming is being left, that it's like the carrot that the parent had dangled in front of the child. Okay? All the parent did is using the gadget to try and motivate the child. Right? But it's more so using it like a threat. You don't study for 2 hours, I'll remove it. Okay, you study, not just study, you study, do your homework properly, finish, answer every question correctly, then you get your 2 hours. Then you get to play with the gadget. Right? So I told the parent, just let the child know when the child finished doing his or her homework properly, they will get to use the gadget for the agreed amount of time. Right? So for example, if the child was required to study from 1 to 3 o'clock, okay, and 3 to 3:30 is gadget time, set your conditions there. If let's say the child needs more time, okay, if the child takes 15 minutes or the child cannot pay attention, right, starts to sit around, play with the mobile phone, chit chat with friends, get up, take water, go to the bathroom, lie down on the bed, okay, and the child says, oh, it's 3 o'clock, I can have my mobile phone. Right? Now the condition was not so much about what time you get the phone, but the condition was you need to make sure that you complete the task to a certain level, right? And then you will get your gadget. So if in the end the child takes 2 hours 15 minutes, that means they finish at 3:15. Okay, they finish at 3:15, then all they have left is 15 minutes to play. So you're not dangling it. Okay, you're not dangling it in front of them anymore. Right? You're not dangling that carrot in front of them anymore. Because once you dangle that carrot and they find your carrot not enticing, they will try to find another carrot from you. Okay, they'll try to find another carrot from you. All right. So just now earlier on also, Rohini, you wrote something. You wrote something as Mint was talking. Okay, I think something along the lines of how do we know and how do you identify the underlying issues. Okay, and you said children give you cues. We need to pay attention to those cues. Okay, that is very true. Your child does give you cues. Okay, now just now Min also used this word a lot. She said to observe your child. Can everyone type in the chat? What does it mean to observe? To your understanding, what does it mean to observe? Watch and learn, monitor, watch, figure out, monitor, see how they behave, look, understand, verbal and non-verbal, non-verbal and non-verbal, allow him to do his work on his own, change in behavior, pay attention. Watch. Okay, let me just give you two keywords, okay, to observe. Just 2 keywords. Okay, you just need to use these 2 senses. Okay, just these 2 words. A lot of you are giving me very big words. Pay attention, monitor, understand, observe and learn. Watch them. Okay, now when you observe, okay, my question was, what do you do when you observe, right? Okay, what are the skill sets? You need two things. One is your eyes to watch. Two is you need your ears to listen to what your child is saying. Okay, can everybody type, what are the two things that you need to observe? What are the two things that you need to use to observe? Eyes and ears, very good, thank you. Eyes and ears. Okay, eyes and ears, right? You need to watch what they're doing and you need to hear what they are saying. Okay, and eyes and ears are things that you already have. You don't need to pay more money to get eyes and ears. Okay, so the basic of observation is using your eyes and your ears. Okay, to watch what they're doing, and you're not just watching, you are also listening. Okay, you are also listening to what they are saying. Right? Because many times, we only pay attention to difficult behaviors. When the child starts to scream, when the child starts to hit, when the child starts to punch, when the child starts to be rude. Okay, but there are times when the child behaves very well too. When the child is happy, when the child is smiling, when the child is enjoying him or herself. Right? Eyes and ears to observe your child is in all areas of your child. Okay? Not just their challenging behaviors. Why? Because when you find out things that make them happy and you find out things that they enjoy doing, you also get to know them a little bit better. Then you will better understand why your child throws a tantrum when you say no. Right? When you use your eyes and your ears, and somebody said heart, yes, watch, listen and watch with the heart, yes. Sometimes parents the heart quite tiring, quite tired already, yeah. Okay? So when you use your eyes and your ears, you are listening to what your child is saying, you're watching what your child is doing. Okay, and you are doing that in all aspects of your child's life. Okay, and then that will go into, okay, when we look at this pillar, okay, rapport and attachment. Okay, rapport and attachment. How do you build rapport with your child? Any ideas? From the audience, any ideas? How do you build rapport with your child? Spend time and do what? Sitting there, both watch TV, not talking is also spending time, huh? What do you mean by constant bonding? Listening to a story is good. Empathize, play what? Be more specific. Spending time with her, what do you do specifically? Okay, I don't want to see spending time, huh? I want to see specifically what do you do when you spend time. Talk to them about what they like, very good. Let them share their experience, very good. Talk with him, good. What do you talk about? Talk to them, read with them, play games. Watch cartoons, very good. Whoever wrote that, watch cartoons, yes. Okay, now, can you type in the group chat? What is the in thing now? What is the in thing now that youth are interested in? What are youth interested in now? Teenagers, what are they interested in? What game? TikTok, very good. Netflix. Instagram, K-pop, PUBG. Yeah, some of them still play PUBG. Very good. What kind of mobile games? Minecraft. Do they still play Minecraft? Okay, Brawl Stars. Very good. You see, even I know. Right? Because I work with youth. Now, when you work with children, when you work with a Call of Duty, wow, okay, very good. Carom. Working out, dancing together, Candy Crush. Mobile Legends. Draw. Okay, your child likes to draw. Scrabble. Okay, very good. Clash of Clans. Okay, good. So you know what they like, okay, what they're interested in. You can use these topics to talk to your child and build that rapport. Okay, and build that rapport. Playing the guitar. If your child enjoys playing the guitar and you can play the guitar, jam together. Or if you don't know how to play, right, then get them to teach you. These are also ways for you to build rapport and strengthen your attachment with the child. Right? So sometimes parents tell me, wow, it's very difficult to understand my child. I can't understand my child. Every time when I try to talk to my child has nothing to say. Well, because your topics are usually surrounding how was school? Okay. What do you learn? Nothing. What do you do in school today? Nothing. Right? So we're not going the extra mile to build rapport. Okay, and building rapport means you talk about things that is of their interest to get to know them a little bit more. Yeah, somebody said, how was your school today? Good. Right? That's exactly the kind of answer that we get. Right? Okay. Now, when we look at this pillar, okay, this foundation 4, okay, rapport and attachment, family needs and support, social emotional needs and support, education needs and support. Right? You need to know that these things, okay, all happen in conjunction with one another. Okay, they all work together. Right? So a lot of you came into this seminar, the previous webinar and this webinar to learn more about education. Right? But if you notice, what we have been talking about is not much about education. Okay, so let me ask you, if you focus so much time on this yellow pillar, okay, this yellow pillar, okay, what do you think will happen to this foundation here? Okay, what will happen to this foundation here if you focus on the yellow pillar? Okay, collapse, it will fumble, disregard, become weak, it will not work, imbalance, the foundation will collapse. Okay, somebody said they're left behind. What do you mean by they're left behind? Okay, balancing the 4, very important. Unsocial, good. Okay, so this is what will happen to the foundation. Right, this is what will happen. Okay, emotional imbalance. Right, so if you want your child to excel, okay, if you want your child to excel, right, there needs to come in support in different areas and not just purely academic. Right, so that's why I asked you at the start. Okay, that's why I asked you at the start. When you look back at you, however many years ago, how was it like for you and parents asked you to study? Right, and I ask you now, how do you feel as a parent when you say no to your child? Okay, and I also talked about setting boundaries. Okay, setting boundaries, right? Letting your child know why a no is a no. Okay, now when we talk about educational support, Mint showed a very good picture about how we expect children to learn. Everything fits nicely in the brain. Like every subject has a nice, perfect spot in the brain, right? But not every child learns that way. Okay, not every child learns that way, right? So in terms of educational need, right? When you see a child avoiding a subject, okay, I'm very bad at Mandarin. Okay, when I was in school, I refused to do Mandarin and I really hated it. Okay, my Mandarin is still bad. Okay, I really hated it. I still don't like it. But the relationship with Mandarin is a little bit better now, right? Okay. The educational need was to improve my Mandarin, right? But the support that was given was just drilling me with assessment books after assessment book after assessment book. But that was not how I learned. And my Mandarin never improved. Okay, and my mom changed tuition teacher after tuition teacher after tuition teacher. And I was 7 years old. Right? Now, things changed when I got a tuition teacher who taught me the way that I learn. Okay? Tuition lessons were never at home. Tuition lessons were out at the park, it was out at the supermarket, it was anywhere around the neighborhood, or she had to get permission from my mom to bring me out. Okay, so one, she built very good rapport with me. Two, she actually asked what was I interested in, right? And three, the family support came in when my mom allowed her to take me out for Mandarin lessons and not have it in class, right? And four, because I was able to spend time with her and learn together with a few of the other kids from tuition, that's where the social skills came along. Three, when it comes to educational need, the support that she gave was appropriate and correct to my learning need. Okay, because I'm very kinesthetic. Okay, I need to learn by touching, feeling, and doing. Right? So she brought me out, she brought me to the supermarket, picked up an apple and told me what is it called in Mandarin. Okay, she brought me to the playground and told me what a swing is in Mandarin. Okay, she told me what is a seesaw called in Mandarin. Right? And then my Mandarin improved. Okay, my Mandarin improved, right? Because it was addressing, okay, to all of these, right? And it wasn't just solely focused on one pillar. Okay, it wasn't solely focused on one pillar, right? So when your child is avoiding a particular subject, okay, you would want to find out why. Okay, you would want to find out why. If your child doesn't like to write, is it because your child doesn't like his or her handwriting? Is it because somebody has told your child that his or her handwriting is ugly? Okay? Or is it because your child just really doesn't like the feeling of holding the pen? You know, some children, when they're told that, why are you holding the pen in such a strange way? They don't like to hold the pen anymore, right? So sometimes it's not just the act of writing. Okay, sometimes it's not just the act of writing, it's how the child feels when they're being made to write. All right, sometimes it depends on what has been told to the child. If an adult keeps telling them, Cam, your handwriting is ugly. Cam, why do you hold your pen in such a weird manner? Nobody holds it this way. Cam, can you write nicer? Cam, I'm giving you more alphabets to practice your writing. I mean, over time, they also would want to write, right? Yeah, fine motor, maybe they may have some challenges in their fine motor skills. Okay, so sometimes it's not always on the surface, right? That's why when we observe, okay, we need to observe with our eyes and our ears. We need to hear what they're saying. Yeah, so somebody said, Susan said, that's true, happened to me. I found out the previous skin allergy caused him to not like writing. Right? Okay, family needs, all right? Sometimes family is not providing a supportive environment to the child, okay, meaning expectations of family is very high of the child, and the expectation is too far, okay, for where the child's current ability is. Okay, where the child's current ability is, right? Then it just keeps increasing more and more stress and expectations of the child, right? Sometimes family also not able to provide in other ways, okay, in terms of time, okay, emotional support, all right? Okay, family support is very important in child's development, yes. Okay, and it's also how we support the child. All right. Yes, sometimes parents are not supportive. Okay. Right. So this is what I will leave you with. Okay, for the session. Okay, yes, the way teachers speak to the child as well. Yes, as long as you're an adult, okay, as long as you're an adult, right, you model the behavior for the child. Okay, as long as you're an adult, doesn't matter if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a tutor, an uncle, an aunt, right? You model how you behave, you're modeling it for the child. Okay, and the child will pick that up. Okay, so if you go around scolding people, talking very loudly, talking very rudely, your child will pick that up. Okay, your child will pick that up. All right. Sometimes parents don't understand the difficulty of the child. Yes. So parents, it's common to hear parents say, during my time, I was this. Now, why are you like that? Okay, so parents, your time and your child's time now is different eras. Okay, different eras. Look at your computer now. It's a flat screen. Okay, your time, your computer was a big chunky screen. Look at the TVs that you have. Now it's flat screen, HD, 4K. Right? Smart TV, you can connect your phone to the TV. A lot of us, our time, either no TV, share TV with neighbor, box TV, black and white TV. Okay, different, right? So instead of comparing your time, okay, your time and how things were for you, and to your child's current time, look at it through their lens. Okay, look at it through their lens and ask them, what is it they are struggling with now? Okay, what is it that you are struggling with now? Right, and just let them talk. Sometimes they'll tell you nothing. Okay, well, do you have a bad day in school? No. Right? So sometimes they are not willing to share with parents, not because they don't want to. It depends on what age they're at, where they may be more interested in sharing with their friends. Okay, or they don't know how to say. Okay, they don't know how to tell parents about it. Right? Then on your end as the adult, you need to be the one to create more conversation. Oh, I noticed you'll be playing this game. Do you play with your friends? Yes. Okay. Can you tell me a bit more what's this game about? Even if you know what is Fortnite, right? Sometimes just pretend like you don't know what it is. Okay, and get your child to tell you a bit more about it. Okay, that's how you draw out more responses from them. Okay. Right, and your children like to hear stories about you, not comparing during my time and now your time, no. Okay, telling your stories. Okay, when I was a child, I enjoyed climbing trees and, I don't know, plucking fruits off. We used to go to the canal and fish. It was a very good time for me. Right? Okay. Any questions? I'm learning Minecraft from my son. Excellent. Okay, excellent. Okay, we can tell them stories. Yeah, share your stories. All right, share it as stories through your lens. Okay, share it as stories. Right? And not as expectations of them to follow you. Right? Okay, I'll take one last question before I hand over to Annie. Yes, share your stories of success and failures. Yep, stories of your grandparents. Yep, because kids think that parents are invincible. Nothing can stop my parents from doing anything. Okay, but when we show them that, we as adults, we have gone through failure as well. Spelling from 0 to 8 now. Yeah. Okay, share your own stories and let them know that, you have been through certain things that that they are going through, but you don't expect them to respond the same way that you did. All right. Yeah, some of them think of you as superheroes. Yes. Right? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to hand over the time to Annie now. Okay, let me share the slide that she needs. Oh. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cam, and as of course, Mint, for that wonderful